Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hi, my name's Katie. I'm a freelance editor and an indie author, and today's video is going to be super fun. As you may or may not know, I have another book coming out in October. That one just came out in June. The Anti-Virginity Pact is young adult contemporary. And then on October 1st, my new poetry collection, Poems for the End of the World, is coming out. This will be my second poetry collection. And I just received the first final copy today in the mail, so I filmed an unboxing with my reaction earlier today, so I will insert that footage in a little bit. And then I also just wanted to answer all of the questions that you guys sent in and do a little Q&A about the book, about the publishing process, all of that kind of stuff. So if you missed it when I asked for questions, I always ask on my Instagram stories. If you want to participate in things like this in the future, I'll have my Instagram link down below. It's just at Katesbookdate. It's probably the platform that I'm the most active on. Like, I post my stories pretty much every day. So yeah, I'll have links. I'm purposely not holding up the book until I do the unboxing part. But I'll have links to add the book on Goodreads. You can pre-order it. It's available everywhere for pre-order now. I'll have all those links down below. And if you're not already subscribed to my newsletter, I'll have my website link down below. Just go to the bottom of the page, put your email in, because I'm going to be running a lot of really fun stuff through there for the next 2 months. We're going to have some giveaways, some pre-order specials and stuff just through my newsletter. So make sure you subscribe over there if you're interested. There'll be more details going out in the newsletter itself, but if you pre-order, you're gonna have early access to this book, as well as access to some chapters from the Anti-Virginity Pact if you haven't read that yet. I'm gonna be giving away some of my bookmarks and stuff. It'll be a fun time over there. Make sure you subscribe to the newsletter. Okay, so I'm gonna run the footage for the unboxing and then we'll get into the questions. Yeah, I'm really hoping I filmed an intro, so this isn't the start of the video, but I just got my final copy of Poems for the End of the World in the mail today. This is the first final copy I'll be seeing of it, so I wanted to film the initial unboxing, reaction and everything. It's like 12 o'clock on Friday and I've had so much work to do that I haven't had a chance to get ready yet, so this is all we've got. But I'm excited that my book got here, so we're just gonna unbox it. This is a copy from Barnes & Noble, which, at least with my experience with the Anti-Virginity Pact, I liked the quality better than Amazon, so I'm excited to see it. I do have a proof copy from Amazon somewhere around here, but it actually wasn't even like the final version of the book. This is the final version that I'm gonna do my final round of proofreading with. I'm so excited. It's so cute. I'm sorry I'm not even showing it to you. I'm too busy. Oh my God. Why am I getting emotional with this one? I didn't get emotional with the last one. Oh, it's so cute. Look at it. It's so skinny. It's so tiny. But I don't know if you can even like see the spine, but the spine is really cute. It has like the same stars as the ones on her helmet. So yeah, this is our final copy. It's so freaking cute. We have our title page. Oh my God, I love it so much. Oh my God, I'm checking the formatting right now to see if I like it. I formatted this so differently than I did my first poetry collection, so I wasn't sure if I was gonna like it, but I think it looks really good. It looks so good, you guys. It looks so good. I'm gonna cry. Oh my God, I love it so much. It's so cute. Yeah, I'm sure I'll probably be talking about this in the Q&A section, but this copy is from Barnes & Noble, so you can get print copies from Barnes & Noble. You'll also be able to get print copies from Amazon. You just can't get them until after the release day. It automatically goes up on Book Depository like a couple of weeks after release. I don't have any control over when it goes up, but that's where you can get a print copy. Obviously the ebooks are great too, but I'm not gonna lie, the print copy is really freaking cute and I would recommend getting it that way. Don't mind me, I'm just gonna be like sitting here. I did not account for having time to proofread this today, but I think I might add it in because I'm just so excited. She's so cute. Oh my God. She's my favorite. Okay, I have to get back to work. I have so much to do today, but hopefully I can film the second part of this video today so I can get this up. I can share my cute little book with you guys. I'll have links down below for Goodreads if you want to pre-order, all the stuff. So thank you guys so much for sending in your questions. Can't do these videos without you. Let's just get straight into them. How did you come up with the title? It seems so epic. I've talked about, well, for one thing, thank you. I guess I can hold up the book now. Isn't she cute? I've talked about this in 1 or 2 videos before. I actually came up with the title in 2017, like way before The Sweetest Kind of Poison even came out. My first poetry collection came out in 2018. This one's coming out in 2020, obviously. And I came up with the title for this one back in 2017. I have a journal entry with that name and like a brainstorm of kind of like topics that I wanted to do for poems in here. So I actually don't really know where the title came from, but I have figured out that that's kind of my process with my poetry collections, because I did the same thing for The Sweetest Kind of Poison. I came up with the title first, and then I wrote the collection around it. So this one, I knew that that was going to be the title, and so then literally on the same page I brainstormed like words that I wanted to use, like vocab that kind of went with that, and like themes that I wanted to explore. And that's what I did with Sweetest Kind of Poison too, which is the opposite of my novel writing process. I'm horrible at titling my novels. It's the very last thing I do. But for poetry collections, that's the first thing that comes to me for whatever reason. How was the process of writing this different from The Sweetest Kind of Poison? I think the main difference is like I knew I was writing a collection this time. Like I sat down with the intention of I want to write another poetry collection. I actually wrote this for NaNoWriMo in November of 2019. And so I sat down obviously with the title in mind and knowing that I wanted to like focus in on a couple of different themes. Whereas The Sweetest Kind of Poison, I had just been writing poetry for a while, and then afterwards I was like, I have a lot of stuff here. Maybe I could make a collection out of it. So this one had like a purpose. This one had some more direction to it than the first one. How does this poetry collection relate to The Sweetest Kind of Poison? This was a commonly asked question too. So they're 2 totally separate collections. You could read one without the other. You could read them in whatever order. It really wouldn't matter. The only thing is the first part of this book, it's split into 4 parts. It's called Waking Up. If you've read The Sweetest Kind of Poison, I think like you'll notice that the first section of this collection is kind of a bridge from there. So it's not like you need to read the first collection to understand it, but I think you'll appreciate it more if you've already read the first collection. But yeah, The Sweetest Kind of Poison has a much more narrow focus. It's literally all about one toxic relationship, whereas Poems for the End of the World is about so many different things. It's basically just about being in your 20s. So it covers a lot more ground, which was something that was actually just like really fun for me to do. So they're not like tied together necessarily. Is poetry your favorite genre to write? I don't think I have a favorite genre to write. I've just found that poetry has been kind of fun. Like when I need a break from a novel, like in between novels, I'll write some poetry. It's just like a nice, I don't know, change of speed, but I also have to be like in the right mood to write it. Do you prefer publishing poetry over novels? No, it's hard to say. I've only published 1 novel, The Anti-Virginity Pact. This is my 2nd poetry collection, so I have a little more experience with this now, but still, I'm still like super early in to publishing. So I don't think I have a preference so far. I feel for whatever reason less pressure with poetry collections. Like it's just much more of a personal thing. It's more of a niche audience, so like I never assume a lot of people are gonna read my poetry collections. So I feel like there's less pressure in publishing poetry than in novels. This cover, just how, thank you. I'm obsessed with this cover. It's my favorite. I'll have my cover designer linked down below if you want to hit her up. She's fabulous. Okay, I'm skipping over repeat questions because I got a lot of the same stuff. How many poems do you write compared to the number that actually end up in your books? So for The Sweetest Kind of Poison, there were so many more poems that didn't make it into that collection, which is funny because it's also a longer collection. But I had so many that didn't go into The Sweetest Kind of Poison, like over 100. Whereas with Poems for the End of the World, again, like I went in more prepared this time around and more focused. So there's still like a handful of poems, like final poems, that didn't make it in. It's kind of hard to explain because my poetry writing process is kind of weird. I always write my poetry like handwritten, which is very different than novel writing for me. And it's more of like a stream of consciousness where I'll just like continually write lines and then I pull out the lines that I like and like form poems out of that, if that makes sense. So it's kind of a weird process. So there's lots of lines in those like random streams of consciousness that didn't make it into a poem, but then like poems that I put together after the fact, definitely fewer than The Sweetest Kind of Poison. Maybe like 20 or 30 didn't make it in. Is there a difference in your writing process, like how you approach writing poetry versus your approach to freelance or fiction writing? For sure. Totally different beast. Like I was saying, I write it handwritten. It's all just kind of like a stream of consciousness kind of deal, and then I try to like build the poems later. And with novel writing, I mean, if you watch my writing vlogs, you've kind of seen how my writing process works. I like outline a chunk and then I write it, and then I outline the next chunk and then I write it, and then I outline and then I write. And fiction, I feel like I can write a little bit of every single day, whereas poetry, I have like big spurts. I'll have like one night where I get like 12 poems down, which doesn't sound like a lot, but if you're a poet, you know that's a lot. And then I'll go like a week without writing any poetry, and then I'll write a ton. So it's just a lot more sporadic than other kinds of writing for me. How do you revise the poems, as in editing, final drafting? So there's a couple of different stages for this because there's a lot of different factors that go into a poetry collection. First of all, writing the poems. So like I was saying, I have that like block of text and I'll fit that into a poem, and I'll do that until I have all of the poems that I think I want. And then I have to figure out, how am I going to order this? How am I going to organize this? How am I going to categorize it? Like, this is split into 4 different sections, and those are all based on like different themes. So I have to figure out where the poems fit. I have to figure out what the themes are going to be to begin with. And so then I work on the order next. And then I read for flow. So I read the whole thing through and I read it aloud, which I think is really helpful because with poetry, it can sound so different just by adding a word here or there. There's a lot of different steps. This could be an entire video, and I'm sure everyone's process is different for this. But yeah, first I focus on just getting the poems written. Then I try to figure out how I'm going to organize the collection overall. Then I have to figure out how I'm going to organize the individual poems within the different sections. And then I read it aloud to tweak the poems, both in terms of the flow with the collection as a whole and then also the flow within each individual poem. Where did you get your inspiration for the poems in this collection? If the poems are personal, do you find writing them cathartic, or is it difficult to relive experience? Yeah, my poetry is pretty personal. Weirdly enough, like there's personal stuff that a lot of people ask me about on here and I don't feel comfortable talking about it in videos, but like I feel perfectly comfortable writing about it and then letting people read it. So if you ever wanted to be nosy and like know about my personal life, it's all in the poetry. I just like choose not to talk about it. This is the way that I choose to talk about it. So I don't know, for whatever reason, this is the way that like I'm comfortable. I guess it is kind of cathartic. It's like easier for me to talk about things that way. So yeah, the inspiration from this, like I said, it's about being in my 20s. It's about my struggles with my health, my struggles with relationships, my struggles with my family, and just kind of trying to figure stuff out after college. So basically the inspiration was just kind of where I'm at in my life right now. How do you know when you're done? How do you organize your poems, and how do you approach writing them? Okay, so I think we kind of got into most of that, but how do you know when you're done? That's hard to know with anything that you're writing. Ask any writer. Like, deciding it's done is probably the hardest part of the process. The beauty with being your own publisher though is you can kind of tweak things up to the last minute. But I also think it's just a gut feeling where you're just like, yeah, okay, this feels right. But even then, like a couple of weeks ago, I thought the collection was done months ago. I added like 3 poems a couple of weeks ago. So I don't think you ever know for sure. You just kind of have to decide, now I'm done, especially if you have deadlines, because then it forces you to be done at certain times. Is it a good idea to read The Sweetest Kind of Poison before reading this one? If you have interest in reading both of them already, then yes, I would read The Sweetest Kind of Poison first. If you have no interest in reading The Sweetest Kind of Poison, you could totally read this one without reading that one. Like, it wouldn't matter. And actually, now that I'm saying that, this poetry is very different. Just to be frank. I think it's better. Also, to be frank. I wrote The Sweetest Kind of Poison when I was 19, and I wrote this when I was 22, 23, so I just think I've learned a lot after publishing The Sweetest Kind of Poison. I've experienced a lot just like life-wise since then, and I just feel like I've improved a lot as a writer. So I could see it being interesting where you read The Sweetest Kind of Poison first, and then you read this one, and you can kind of see like the full arc of that. Or if you read this one first, and then you go back to The Sweetest Kind of Poison, you're probably gonna be able to like drastically see the improvement, which might be interesting. So I think you could read it either way. You could read either or. If you end up reading both, report back to me and let me know how you read them and if you enjoyed reading them that way. How long have you been writing poems? Do you have a certain type of poem you write, or do you write different ones? So I didn't start writing poetry until college. If you didn't know, I was a creative writing major in college, so I had to take poetry classes. And then I also started reading poetry when I was in college. That was about when like Milk and Honey and all of those popular poetry books started to come out, and that's when it really got on my radar. I don't think I really started writing my own until I was a sophomore in college. And then as far as the types of poetry, when I was in those poetry classes, we had like specific assignments, so I had to try writing all of these different kinds of poems. And actually, if you read the collection, let me know which poem you think it is, was one of my assignments that did really well in school and everyone loved it. And I was like, this doesn't really fit with the collection, but I put it in here anyway because I really love that poem. It's one of my favorite things I've ever written. So yeah, I've tried pretty much every kind of poetry that you can imagine because I had to. This collection, more so than The Sweetest Kind of Poison, I experimented a lot, so there's a lot of different kinds of poetry in here. So yeah, I don't write just one kind of poem. Will this one and The Sweetest Kind of Poison be available on Scribd? If you didn't know, the Anti-Virginity Pact is available on Scribd. The Sweetest Kind of Poison is not, and will not be for at least a little while, just based on the way that I published it for the first time back in 2018. It can't be, but I'm hoping to republish it in the future under my publishing company now. So once I do that, then it can be on there, but I don't have a set date for that. This one, once it's out, will be on Scribd. So you'll be able to find it there. And so then, just to answer the questions that I always get the most frequently, where can I buy this? Is this available in my country? What format is it available in? All of that. I'm gonna have a universal link down below. You click on it, it'll pop up everywhere that it's available. There are some places that won't have it until after release, and I don't have control on when that gets up, like Book Depository, physical copies on Amazon. They will be there, but not until after the release day. But things you could do now, you could request that your library get it, you can pre-order it, you can get the print copy from Barnes & Noble if you wanted to pre-order that. Otherwise, the ebook is available pretty much everywhere. We're just waiting on Apple Books because they have a really long processing time, but it will be there eventually. Is it available in your country ebook-wise? Yes. Print book might be a little bit harder. If you have Amazon, you'll be able to get it from Amazon after October 1st. If you're waiting for Book Depository, that probably won't be up until a few weeks afterwards. Make sure you sign up for my newsletter on my website if you want to learn about goodies that you can get if you pre-order the book, if you want to enter those giveaways and stuff. That email will be sending out in August. You can pre-order the book now. You can add it on Goodreads. My other 2 books are already out in the world and you can read them if you'd like to. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for sending in your questions. Poems for the End of the World will be out October 1st of 2020. I'm super excited. Yeah, this book is super personal, which weirdly enough, I feel like I should be like more nervous about people reading that, but I'm just like not. But it's my favorite book of mine so far. I really, really love it. I'm really, really proud of it. I hope you guys enjoy it. If you're watching this and you were one of my ARC readers, thank you so much. If you applied to be an ARC reader and you haven't heard back from me yet, don't worry, I'm still going through the applications. I just got a lot of them, so it's taking me a while. And if you missed that, it went out through my newsletter, so make sure you sign up for that so you don't miss it next time. Thank you guys so much for watching. All my links are down below in the description. I'd appreciate it if you would give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and I will just see you in my next one very, very soon. Bye.
So hit me. So hit me. So hit me. First a confession. With you, I feel a connection. With